Hello folks, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. I'm going to be speaking with you today on the subject of 15 ways that I defeated my narcissist on every single front. I had an epiphany yesterday after watching a movie about Narcissistic Abuse Syndrome. The movie was something that came under two different names, oddly enough. The British version was called Butterfly on a Wheel. The American version was called Shattered. It starred Pierce Brosnan, Gerard Butler, and Maria Bello. The title Butterfly on a Wheel is a line in an Alexander Pope poem. Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? That line is interpreted as questioning why someone would put great effort into achieving something minor or unimportant, or would punish a minor offense with a disproportionate punishment. The quotation is used to suggest someone employing superabundant effort in the accomplishment of what seems by some to be just a small matter. So in this movie, Gerard Butler played a narcissist and a liar and a cheater. And his wife, Maria Bello, I'm ruining the movie for you, sorry. And Pierce Brosnan, who was the husband of the woman that Gerard Butler's character was cheating with. They found out about it, and they got together and they formed a plan. And the plan was basically, through the use of mind fucking techniques, intimidation, some violence, some threat. They put Gerard Butler's character through abandonment, fear, excruciating emotional stress, betrayal. It was masterful, and both parties, you could see, were suffering from severe trauma. I don't know why sexual infidelity, when you find out about it, and it's been going on for a long time, and it isn't just cheating, it's a narcissist acting out. I don't know why that's so horribly destructive, but it really is. So these two people weren't in recovery, and they weren't working on their issues, and they were out for revenge. And that I cannot endorse. Recovery isn't about revenge. Recovery is about doing your own work. However, at the end of the movie, I had this wonderful epiphany. All this time, for 16 months, I thought, frankly, I got my butt kicked. That I was played for a fool, destroyed into a shattering, left to wallow in my destruction, teetering on the verge of suicide, left crippled with 50 symptoms of narcissistic abuse, and that she was the winner and I was the loser. I've rethought that because it just isn't true. Actually, as I reflect upon what occurred, I really wasn't trying to win. I was just reacting out of my pain, which I think both the characters in this movie really were doing. They were reacting out of the depth of their trauma. There's this really powerful scene at the end of the movie where Maria Bellows' character, grabs the face, sort of lovingly of Gerard Butler, her husband, and she says, "Who breaks the wings of a butterfly? Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel?" She says, "I do." She said, "Did you feel it? Did you feel the pain? Did you feel the shame? Did you feel the fear? Did you feel the anxiety? Did you feel the trauma?" And there was just this look on her face of triumph. What happens when you involve yourself with a narcissist is, because they don't have a self and they don't have a conscience, you're running into a buzzsaw. You're dealing with something that you didn't know existed, something that evil and that hurtful. You didn't even know that existed. And it is really like running into a buzzsaw, and so much violence is done to your soul that most of us didn't see it coming, and then we're left with all this violence in our soul. And some of us act out, and not out of really rage, not out of meanness, not out of an interest in shaming the other person, just out of sheer animal instinct. This narcissist traps you in a corner, wounds you, and then is coming after you for the kill. And yes, we might snarl and flash our teeth and fight back. Who breaks a butterfly on a wheel? I did. I won on every single front. This narcissist borderline that I was involved with psychologically walked away with a limp, and she walked away with nothing in her pockets, and I walked away with everything. So here's 15 ways that I won, and I didn't even know I won. I swear to you that all this time I thought it was about surviving getting beaten. And the truth is, I was the winner in this situation. And I was doing a lot of things right that came from my recovery. And I was doing a lot of things raw that came from my PTSD reactivity. So let me first address, there's 5 main points, and these are about your recovery work. And these are the main points. This is how you can win in your reflection upon what happened. Many of us feel humiliated and beaten, and I'm just offering a reframe. These are actually true ways and accurate ways of thinking about the situation that will help you feel better, and they're just the truth. So the number one way to defeat your narcissist is for you not to look at it as being destroyed and shattered, but to look at it as a healing that you are embracing. They did you a favor. You needed a deep emotional healing. You recruited them, and then you benefited from the healing. I have healed so much in 16 months. Yes, it was excruciating. Yes, the pain level I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but I'm starting to have fruit from the healing that is just wonderful and amazing. So embrace the experience as a positive, because it is. Embrace the experience as a healing opportunity, because it is. They did not snooker you. They did not gaslight you into oblivion. You used them and Mother Nature colluded with you to bring about an opportunity to heal that just knocked your socks off and made you into a better person, made you into a better significant other. My second point is, okay, the video is about 15 ways I defeated my narcissist. But the second point is, if you try to win, you're operating with the wrong spirit. You're operating out of revenge. In the movie, there were two shattered people, but they were patient, they were cunning, they were willing to do what it took, and payback is a bitch. Revenge is a dish best served cold. And these two people served up an icy, huge platter of revenge, and they enjoyed it. And they were brilliant in executing it. Most of us are too shattered to be brilliant. There was nothing brilliant or thought out about my PTSD reactivity, but nonetheless, I did some things in my reactivity that bruised and psychologically battered this monster in such a way as she walked away with every bit as much pain as I did. The difference is I proactively healed and benefited. I think she just walked away as a victim, blaming me for her pain. So to win and to defeat your narcissist, you have to need to not win. It's not about winning and losing. It's about healing. It's about taking responsibility for your own life. Number 3, if life gives you lemons, make some really good lemonade. I've used this analogy before. To me, it felt like lemons were crashing down from heaven in sort of a post-apocalyptic scene. The lemons were made out of nuclear material. They were lit on fire. They were pelting me. And it was a very scary picture. And through the power of recovery, I've been able to turn those lemons into a particularly delicious and healthy and safe lemonade, because it's brought about emotional healing in my life. It's really invigorated my career. I love the work that I do. I love being able to help my fellow shattered friends out there. It's been, ironically, even though I faced a lot of financial destruction with being off and investing so much in treatment and therapy, in the long run, the benefits of learning what I've learned is going to make me a very comfortable man financially. And now I've even been blessed with a new relationship with somebody who has a lot of issues, but she's not a liar, she's not a narcissist, she's not a cheater, and she's willing to roll up her sleeves and do some work on herself with sincerity. So turn your flaming, nuclear, on fire, scary lemons that are pelting you from the heavens into sweet victory and lemonade of making your life better. Number 4 thing to do, this is very important. A narcissist is gathering a team of flying monkeys. And you're not just dealing with them. You might be dealing with their family, their friends. You might be dealing with a treatment center. You might be dealing with therapists. You might be dealing with police. They might recruit your children. So you need to put together a treatment team that is more powerful and more influential than the team of flying monkeys. I brought this woman to a treatment center called the Bridge to Recovery. I had just been there myself as a service provider for a free week of treatment. So I trusted these people. But when she arrived, this borderline rallied the posse and turned that treatment center into flying monkeys, and they completely misunderstood who she was, and they completely misunderstood who I was. But I instinctively knew how much help I needed, and I put together a brilliant, multifaceted team of professionals and friends and family. And my healthy flying monkeys were stronger than their evil flying monkeys. Because I had a world-renowned therapist in my corner, Paul Hartman. And I had a whole cadre of healing professionals. I had one of the best treatment centers in the world on site near Nashville, Tennessee, on my side. So they had the C team and I had the A team. So they were no match for the team that I put together. I was going to get better. I was going to have victory. They were going to be in denial, and she was going to walk away limping. Who breaks a butterfly on a wheel? I do. I did. You can. What that means is, in our society, people view it as, oh, he just had an affair, she just had an affair, and the spouse went nuts, and they overreacted. Who would go through so much trouble and so much energy to bring accountability for something that's not that big a deal? You and I know better. It's not just cheating. What we went through was far more diabolical and evil than somebody just cheating. So who would go out of their way to recompense and to bring accountability to somebody who the world thinks doesn't deserve accountability, but we know the level of violence they perpetrated? And if you have fire in your belly, and if you don't operate like a victim, you can become such a powerful force that these people can be held accountable and they can walk away psychologically bruised and beaten. Mine was a particularly nasty one, and I got the best of her. So the fifth thing is gain insight into the truth of who they are. You're going to have to watch a lot of videos about narcissism and narcissistic abuse syndrome recovery. I haven't read this book yet, but I keep hearing about it, and I think everybody should read it. It's Complex PTSD by Pete Walker. I'm more of a audio man, so I've been waiting for it to come out on audio, but I'm going to break down and buy it this week and start reading it, and I'll be making videos on it. I had a chance to meet with some YouTube video makers in Michigan last week, and Dana was there, Thriving After Abuse channel. And she's brilliant, and she's lovely, and she's wise, and she's very influential, and I learned a lot from her. And I hope to be doing some collaborating with her. Actually, I'm hoping to begin a live show in a couple of weeks, maybe on a Tuesday night, maybe on a Sunday. I'm not sure yet. But a lot of YouTube people do live shows. The benefit is you guys can then message in, and then I can answer questions. So I might give that a roll and see how that goes. So those are my main 5 points, because those are things that you can do proactively in your recovery once you have the insight as to what's going on. Now, the next 10 points, my brother has this saying, you're lost as a goose. And so the next 10 things I did were powerful, and they put a bruise on this nasty borderline. But I didn't do it because I was non-reactive, and I didn't do it because I was insightful and in recovery. I was that wounded animal that was cornered. So I'm not telling you to go do these things. These are raw things. I just take delight in them as I think back. I wasn't trying to be mean. I wasn't trying to be hurtful. I was just trying to survive and make sense of what happened to me. So I hope you understand the spirit in which this is shared. I'm not saying go out and do these things. I'm saying this is what I did, and I'm delighted that I did them. Because I had a treatment center and a family and a narcissist that were all had the wrong information and were bullying me, and I punched them all in the face with the help of my treatment team. So I'm wanting to reframe some of your traumatic reactions and some of mine. This is what I did. So one thing I did was, in the first 8 days after this person confessed, me and one of my associates, Brenda Hall, and friends, we basically psychologically got the truth out of her. We grilled her, this woman, Betsy, for hours. And she would lie, tell me a little more, lie, tell me a little more. But both Brenda and I were relentless in investigating her and interrogating her. And finally, I just said, write it down. And I handed her a pad of paper and a pen, and she wrote it all down. And when she first confessed, what she ultimately told me was probably 1,000 times worse, but she wrote it down. And I typed up what she wrote down, and in my reactivity, then the next thing that I did was I gathered community around my brother, my daughter, my best friend, some people from my office, our neighbors, some people from Betsy's church, Betsy's 2 brothers, Betsy's parents. There were 21 people in the room besides Betsy and I had her read that god-awful confession filled with disgusting things. Things like this man, to worship her, he would drink her urine. Things like she began this acting out really within weeks of knowing me and moving into my home. Horrible, horrible, disgusting things. But I had her read that, not because I wanted to shame her, not because I wanted to be mean. You're just in such shock when this happens. You want people to know about it, because if it's said out loud, maybe it'll seem real. It just seems so mind-blowing and so surreal that these things happened. To have her look people in the eye and say, yeah, I used to go out at lunchtime and have oral sex and a taco. You know, I did that 30 times. And if she said she did it 30 times, she did it 300 times. There was something about that felt vindicating and powerful and affirming to me. Again, when you're raw, when you're shattered, I'm not recommending that you do this. I'm recommending that you don't. But if you did some things in your shattered state and condition that brought some accountability, then more power to you. This treatment center that she went into basically shut off contact and started treating me like I was the perpetrator. And this elevated my frustration and my trauma. And I was shut out, and I emailed that 6-page wicked confession to every single person on Betsy's email list. And I'm both embarrassed about it and happy about it. I'm embarrassed to have been so reactive, but I'm sort of glad that I did it, frankly. She brought so much violence to my soul in my cornered, wounded animal condition. She got some psychological violence back. I didn't do it to win. I didn't do it to be mean. But frankly, I'm glad she walked away with a big bruise psychologically. Part of recompense and accountability for many of you is you get ripped off financially. And the narcissist walks away with your home, with your savings, with your children. And in my situation, she was in a treatment center and I had the key to the apartment. I went and got my $2,500 living room furniture set. I got a laptop that I paid for indirectly. I got an iPad, I got an iPod, I got a bicycle, I got a couple of TVs. I paid for all these things. These were mine. And I gave them to her under the impression that she was somebody who loved me and somebody who was actually in a relationship with me and not playing me for money. So she walked away with a cell phone and a bruise. Who breaks a butterfly upon a wheel? I do. And you can too. We are formidable people. We are people not to be trifled with. We're not vengeful people. We're not violent people. But if you put us in a corner and wound us, you're liable to get bit. And it'll be your fault if you do. There was some bedroom furniture, a nice bedroom suite of furniture and a large fridge that were hers that are now mine. There was accountability for her at work. Everybody at Roche Laboratories knows who she is and who this man is. I made that happen. And again, it's a double-edged sword. Would I do it again in my present condition? No, I would not. I don't care. I just don't care. But am I glad that everybody at Roche knows who she is? Yeah, I sort of am. And everybody knows who he is. They're really known as sick, perverted, heartless, evil people. And everybody knows. So who breaks a butterfly on a wheel? I do. Okay, now this is getting dicey. I'm going to get some negative comments on this. The 8 days before she left, I was very wounded and felt betrayed sexually. And frankly, I asked her to perform some sexual acts that happened during her relationship with this sick man, just because, again, it felt healing to me. It felt like justice. They're not anything really sick, but it was things they did that she didn't do with me that she did with me that week. And to keep up her facade and to keep a shot at conning me for money, she had to do them. So I felt sort of sexually vindicated. Like, it's not revenge. It's not hatred. It's breaking a butterfly on a wheel. It's out of your rawness, sharing back with that individual a little bit of the pain that they shared with you. I also had a voice with the treatment center, and I have made life difficult for them. There's a very visible Google, review. And anybody who reads the reviews, nobody's going to go there. And I've brought a lot of negative press and attention to the bridge to recovery and Kim Iverson, because they got played and they didn't have the integrity to do what was right. And they really shouldn't be in business. They shouldn't be treating people in this field because they simply aren't competent, and people could be destroyed and people could die. So in being raw and in being powerful, you don't have to roll over and be a punk. You don't have to roll over and get beaten. You can non-reactively fight and put a bruising on these bastards without getting yourself in trouble or thrown in jail. I didn't get in trouble. I didn't get thrown in jail. There were some times where I could have got in some trouble, but I believe the grace of God kept that from happening. So that's my message to you, is don't look for revenge. But if you look back and you feels like you did some things that were raw, then don't feel ashamed about it. Run into the end zone, take that football and spike it and do a victory dance and put a smile on your face and you say, you know what? They messed with the wrong person. They walked away with a limp. I was able to, with the help of my recovery team and the fire in my belly and my sense of self, I was able to take that butterfly and crush it and break it on a wheel. And I don't know, that thought helped me, that it was two different things. It was, I never tried to get revenge, but I did some raw things purely out of PTSD. People don't understand. You're not making choices. You're raw, you're bleeding, and you're reacting. That is not a moral condition. That is not a moral choice when that much violence is brought to your soul. So, in the here and now, embrace your healing. Don't try to win. Turn lemons into lemonade. Gather a powerful treatment team that will outdo the team of flying monkeys, and squeeze as much insight as you can out of this experience. And then go through and reframe anything raw that you did to put a bruising on that rotten person as not shameful things that you did, but honorable things and just things that frankly you can feel good about. I've got her former bicycle in my garage. I painted it green. I don't ride it much, but every time I go out there, it feels like spiking the football in the end zone. It's like, I won. I won. I was blindsided. I was quadruple teamed. I was confused, and I still won. Because I'm walking away a blessed man, and somebody with a smile on his face, with no bitterness in his heart, and with the power of knowing that while I'm not victimized, I'm also not a pushover. Who breaks a butterfly on a wheel? We do. God bless you, folks. Thank you for watching.